This is one of the largest machines ever built by human hands. 100,000 tons of steel, cargo, and power drifting across the open ocean, a floating city surrounded by endless waves. It crosses continents, weathers storms, and carries the world's trade on its back. But when it needs to stop in the middle of nowhere, what keeps it from drifting away? Most people think the answer is simple. The anchor, a giant hunk of metal dropped into the sea that digs into the seabed and holds everything still. It sounds obvious, it feels right, and it looks dramatic in every movie ever made. But here's the truth: that idea is almost completely wrong. On a massive ship like this, the anchor isn't what holds it in place. It's not even the main player. In reality, the true hero lies hidden beneath the waves in a silent, curved masterpiece of engineering and physics that most people never even notice. To understand it, imagine what this machine is up against. Even when idle, the ship is constantly attacked by two invisible forces: wind and current. The wind pushes the towering hull like a giant sail, while underwater currents shove the vessel from below. They never stop, and their combined power can move a ship this big with surprising ease. So how do you fight forces that never sleep? With two tools, the anchor and the chain. Now, the anchor's job isn't to weigh the ship down. It's not a massive block that simply sinks and holds. Its true purpose is to hook. Modern stockless anchors are designed with precision geometry flukes shaped like shovels, meant to dig horizontally into the seabed once tension is applied to the chain. When it lands, the anchor doesn't sit still. It twists, bites, and buries itself deeper as the chain pulls. But even that only works if the seafloor plays along. Solid rock is almost useless. The anchor just slides over it. A layer of algae can make it skate like ice. Sand helps a little, but still lacks grip. The perfect hold comes from sticky mud or clay, where the anchor claws in like a beast gripping the earth. Only then does it become part of a much bigger system, because the anchor is not alone. Attached to it is a colossal steel chain called the rode that stretches for hundreds of meters. Each individual link can weigh more than a grand piano, and together they form a monster of metal weighing nearly 250,000 kilograms. That's as heavy as a fully grown blue whale lying quietly on the seabed. And yet, despite all that weight, the anchor's role is surprisingly humble. It's just there to keep the end of the chain in position. The real holding power, the real magic, comes from the chain itself. When a ship drops anchor, the crew doesn't stop when the anchor touches bottom. They keep releasing chain link after link, meter after meter, until a long, heavy curve forms across the seabed. This curve has a name: the catenary. And it's the hidden law of physics that keeps the ship still. The catenary does two remarkable things. First, it uses gravity and friction to pin itself to the ocean floor, like a steel snake hugging the earth. Every extra meter of chain adds more downward force, anchoring the ship through sheer weight and drag. Second, and most importantly, the curve acts like a shock absorber. When wind gusts or waves pull on the vessel, the ship doesn't yank directly on the anchor. It first has to lift that long, heavy curve of chain off the seabed. The curve straightens gradually, soaking up energy like a massive spring. By the time the force finally reaches the anchor, it's been softened and slowed, transformed from a violent tug into a gentle pull. Without this curve, anchoring would be impossible. Any strong wave could rip the anchor right out of the ground. The catenary is what turns chaos into balance, the quiet, graceful curve that holds 100,000 tons of metal, steady against the sea's constant motion. But what happens when it's time to move again? How do you lift an anchor that was designed not to come out, attached to a chain that weighs as much as a whale? The answer is one of pure engineering brilliance. You don't pull, you drive. The ship uses its main engines to move slowly forward, right above the anchor's position. At the same time, a powerful machine called the windlass hauls in the chain. The engines handle the horizontal force, while the windlass only lifts the vertical weight. Once the ship is directly above the anchor, the angle changes, the chain pulls straight up, flipping the anchor backward and popping the flukes free from the seabed's grip. It's a perfect blend of precision and power, a dance between man, machine, and nature. Even the chain itself is a marvel of design. It's divided into sections called shackles, each about 27 meters long. At every connection, the links are painted in bright colors, red for the joint, white on each side, to mark the number of shackles. If you see one white link on either side, it means one shackle is in the water. 2 white links? 2 shackles. 3 shackles. It's a simple analog code that lets the crew instantly read how much chain is deployed, even in rough seas. 5 shackles means roughly 450 feet of pure holding power, stretching beneath the waves. And that's the beauty of it. Everything about anchoring is deliberate mechanical precision meeting the elegance of physics. It's not about brute strength or massive size. It's about understanding how weight, friction, and geometry work together in perfect harmony. So the next time you see a gigantic ship resting silently in a harbor, don't be fooled into thinking it's idle. It's quietly engaged in a delicate balancing act, held steady by an invisible curve of steel lying deep below. That curve, the catenary, is the unsung hero of the oceans, the hidden force that keeps our world's largest machines perfectly still. And while Hollywood loves to show ships dropping anchors to make sharp turns or sudden stops, the truth is far less dramatic, but infinitely more fascinating. If a captain ever tried that in real life, the result would be disaster. At best, the anchor would rip free and bounce uselessly along the seabed. At worst, the chain would snap under the tremendous strain. In reality, anchoring isn't an act of violence. It's an act of precision, patience, and respect for the laws of nature. Because beneath the surface, every link of that chain tells a story of balance, of resistance, of gravity quietly doing its work. The anchor may get the glory, but it's the curve of the chain, that perfect marriage of weight and geometry, that truly holds the ship in place. A reminder that sometimes the strongest things in the world don't fight the forces around them. They work with them.